We will start this evening with roll call. Madam Clerk.
Councilmember Brightingham.
Here.
Councilmember Nguyen.
Yeah.
Councilmember Muñetón.
Here.
Councilmember Aristegui.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Dovin.
Present.
Mayor Klopfenstein.
Here.
And Councilmember Tran is absent.
Thank you. We will now proceed to the invocation. This will be given by Assistant City Manager Ursula Luna Reynosa, and then following that, the Pledge of Allegiance by Councilwoman Aristegui tonight.
Thank you. Please stand and prepare yourself according to your faith. Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. Help us to engage in meaningful discussion, guide our thoughts and words, and grant us clarity of mind. May we consider all perspectives and focus on our shared values as we nurture the bonds between neighbors. Continue to remind us that all that we do here today, all that we accomplish, is through your grace and for the service of community. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
Please remain standing, face the flag, and place the right hand over your heart. Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, we'll move into presentations, one of the best parts of the evening. We have a community spotlight tonight in recognition of the Sister City Association of Garden Grove Exchange student ambassadors visiting Anyang, Republic of Korea. And I believe Assistant City Manager Ursula Luna Reynosa is going to read the community spotlight.
My pleasure. The Garden Grove City Council is pleased to acknowledge 10 outstanding GGUSD students selected as ambassadors to represent Garden Grove in the 36th Annual Sister City Exchange Program to Anyang, Republic of Korea. Would the students please come forward? You can come on up. Come on up, don't be shy. For over 3 decades, the Garden Grove Sister City Association has coordinated the student exchange program and deepened the city's understanding of and ties with the Republic of Korea. Through the Sister City Exchange program, Garden Grove's youth have a unique opportunity to learn about Korean culture firsthand. They see the country's beautiful sights, but more importantly, experience its warm hospitality. The students, along with chaperones Neil Maluensen and Jacob Grant, will serve as Garden Grove's Goodwill ambassadors during their 10-day stay. During their visit, they will be staying with Korean families who have graciously opened their homes and hearts to host the students and chaperones. At this time, I would like to give brief introductions of each student. So Ethan Alvarez, kind of wave when I call your name. Ethan is a senior at Garden Grove High School. He hopes to major in public health or biology at UC Irvine, UCLA, or UC San Diego. Ashton Boye, a senior at Garden Grove High School. Ashton hopes to major in political science at UCLA. Isabella Calzada. Isabella is a junior at Pacifica High School, and she hopes to major in international relations during her time in higher education. Alan Lay, a senior at Bolsa Grande High School. Alan hopes to major in aviation at San Jose State University. Camila Meja. Camila is a senior at Garden Grove High School, and she hopes to major in early childhood education at Cal State Fullerton or UC Irvine. Diego Nguyen, a senior at Garden Grove High School. Diego hopes to major in aerospace engineering at Cal Poly in San Luis Obispo, UC Berkeley, or UCLA. Madison Nguyen. Madison is a senior at La Quinta High School, and she hopes to study molecular biology at UC Berkeley, UC Irvine, UCLA, or UC San Diego. Grace Serrano, a senior at Garden Grove High School. Grace hopes to major in political science at a University of California school. Angelina Ta. Angelina is a senior at Garden Grove High School, and she hopes to major in public health at UC Berkeley, UCLA, UC San Diego, or USC. Karen Valle, a senior at Los Amigos High School. Karen hopes to major in journalism at San Francisco State University. The city is proud to have such excellent diplomats represent us in Anyang, the The mayor and city council would like to present each of you with a certificate of recognition. We wish you a safe and memorable trip to South Korea. Now we would like to invite GGUSD Board of Education trustee Terry Rocco up to the podium to say a few words.
On behalf of the Garden Grove Unified School District Board of Education, I'd like to take this opportunity to express our deep gratitude for the wonderful partnership between the City of Garden Grove and Anyang, Republic of Korea. Our sister city relationship with Anyang holds immense significance in expanding cultural understanding and educational opportunities for our students. This collaboration reflects the shared values of community, respect, and the desire to create a more interconnected world. One of the highlights of this partnership is the incredible opportunity for our high school students to travel to Anyang as ambassadors representing Garden Grove Unified School District and immersing themselves in the rich culture and the history of Anyang. Participating in the exchange program provides these students with invaluable experiences that will help shape their academic and personal growth on their path to lifelong success. Our students certainly return with new perspectives, greater empathy, and a deeper appreciation for global cultures. This is a kind of education that prepares them for success in an increasingly interconnected world. On behalf of the Board of Education and the students who will benefit from this incredible opportunity, I'd like to thank the City of Garden Grove and our partners in Anyang for their ongoing support and commitment to the education and cultural exchange. Thank you.
Mayor, we also have Neil Miller-Lanson that would like to provide a few words.
Hi, I'm Neil Miller-Lanson, board member of the Sister City Association of Garden Grove and chaperone to the 2025 Student Exchange Program. With me is the Sister City board member, Jacob Grant, who will be the second chaperone to this year's program. Yeah. Behind me are the 10 Garden Grove Unified School District high school students selected to participate in the 2025 Student Exchange Program. They were chosen from a pool of over 80 applicants, selected for their academic success, unique characteristics, and vibrant personalities. They are true examples of why Garden Grove is known as the city of youth and ambition. Before I turn the mic to the students, I'd like to express my sincere gratitude to all of you for your continued support to the Sister City Association's fundraising event, the Strawberry Stomp 5K. Last year, the event drew approximately 900 participants and guests to the downtown area. All proceeds went toward this year's student exchange program, including the airfare to Korea. Without the support from the City Council, city staff, Garden Grove Police Department, and Garden Grove Public Works Department, the student exchange program wouldn't exist. Thank you. We look forward to seeing all of you at the upcoming Strawberry Stomp 5K held on Saturday, May 24th on Main Street. Registration is open and all proceeds will fund the 2026 Student Exchange Program. And if I may provide you with some flyers. Just a reminder.
Don't want us to forget, huh?
Right. Now I'd like to introduce our Garden Grove ambassadors, Angelina Ta, Isabella Calzada, and Grace Serrano.
Good evening, Mayor Stephanie Klopfenstein and members of City Council and City staff. My name is Angelina Ta, and I stand before you today to thank you for this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Coming into my senior year at Garden Grove High School, I would have never imagined this is how I'd be spending my spring break, much less my birthday, which is actually in 2 days, and I get to tell people that I became legal in Korea. But nevertheless, I truly thought the senioritis would have hit me by now, and I'd either be eating or in bed 24/7. However, here I am today, ready to board a plane for the first time since 2017, and of course, accompanied by all my peers right behind me. I want to say that I am incredibly excited to see my student Harin again, along with all of our Korean friends. What's more is that I get the opportunity to witness and be immersed in a culture completely different from my own. Although the city of Garden Grove, as we know, is filled with a variety of ethnicities and even our own Koreatown, I am nevertheless thrilled to experience the day-to-day customs that Harin and her family may have and what it's like living in their household. I'm excited to taste their homemade Korean food that she constantly tells me about, and I also look forward to representing the Garden Grove community in Korea with a true sense of pride and purpose. And I am incredibly grateful for this opportunity that would not be possible without your support. So thank you so much for listening, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you.
You have to have a beard to be a chaperone. Yeah, that's.
Good evening, Mayor Kaufenstein, members of City Council, and city staff. My name is Isabella Rosales Calzada, and I'm a junior at Pacifica High School. I stand before you today with immense gratitude and excitement as I prepare to represent Garden Grove in the student exchange program to Anyang, Korea. This opportunity is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that will shape me in ways I can't even imagine yet, and I'm incredibly thankful to be part of something so meaningful. When the students of Anyang visited us, I had no idea just how much of an impact they would have on me. In such a short amount of time, I formed friendships that felt like they have been built over years. We bonded over shared experiences, exchanged stories about our culture, and laughed over the little things that made our daily lives both so different yet so similar. I learned so much about their traditions and perspectives. This experience has shown me that no matter where we come from, we all have so much to learn from one another if we take the time to listen. Now, as I prepare to step into their world, I feel a deep sense of responsibility and excitement. Though I will be stepping out of my comfort zone, I'm eager to immerse myself into Korean culture and to walk the streets of a new city, to hear a new language spoken all over around me, to taste the food, and to experience firsthand the daily lives of the friends I have made. More than that, I am open to learning the valuable lessons the city of Anyang has to offer. My experience in Korea will not stay with me alone. I am committed to bring this back to Garden Grove to share with my family, friends, and people within our community, and to ensure that the exchange continues to inspire and connect students for years to come. Because programs like this are not just about visiting another country, they are about building bridges, fostering understanding, and creating a world where we appreciate and celebrate each other's cultures. Thank you to the City Council, the Sister City Association, the city staff, and to everyone who made this experience possible, for believing in the power of cultural exchange, for giving students like me this incredible opportunity, and for supporting our journey in growth and discovery. I promise to make the most out of it and can't wait to share everything I learned with the community, and that has given me so much opportunities. Thank you so much and have a great night.
Good evening, Mayor Kloffenstein, members of City Council, and city staff. My name is Grace Serrano, and I am a senior at Garden Grove High School. To begin, I would like to sincerely thank each and every one of you for supporting the Sister City Association of Garden Grove, which in turn allows us to experience this cross-cultural exchange. As one of the 10 Garden Grove student ambassadors attending this trip, I can speak for all of us when I say that we are proud to represent our community of Garden Grove in Anyang, South Korea. This experience will not only allow us to deepen our appreciation for Korean culture, but also share the diversity of our own. Through this, we hope to bring back our observations and newfound perspectives to our schools, homes, friends, and families, with the goal of inspiring others in our community to embrace cultural exchange. Personally, I'm very excited to reconnect with my Korean friend, Yuno Park, and meet the rest of her family. During the week I spent with Yuno, I realized that language is no barrier to forming meaningful connections. Despite speaking different languages, we bonded over TV shows and music, proving that our similarities are greater than our differences. I hope that my experience with the Sister City Association of Garden Grove will encourage other students in the district to take the risk and apply to be a part of the student exchange program. Thank you again for your unwavering support. This opportunity is truly life-changing, and we are honored to represent Garden Grove. Thank you.
Couldn't get any of the boys to talk.
Yeah, flip it open.
Maybe we can scoot down. There you go.
All right, we'll go ahead and move on to our next presentation, which is a donation from the Korean American Seniors Association of Orange County in recognition of the Orange County Fire Authority's response to the Los Angeles County fires. And I believe we have Brian Kim here this evening, president of our Korean American Seniors Association, to present a donation to OCFA.
Everything's okay? Good evening. Thank you for this schedule tonight. My name is Brian Kim. I'm the Korean American Seniors Association of Orange County. I have a good news for you today. I have an $800 check in my hand right now, which from our organization seniors member to donate for the firefighters in Garden Grove City. We realize how hard your work was when we experienced the LA wildfires. I really appreciate to the city of the Garden Grove, also mayor, city council, all the employees. Nice to meet you again. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kim. We appreciate your generosity. Thank you so much. Should we like to come forward?
Okay, well, could the chief say a few words? Yeah.
Thank you. I'll say a few words. Thank you. Thank you. Can I say a few words real quick? Mayor, City Council, City staff. My name's Justin Doyle. I'm a battalion chief here with Orange County Firefighters. I've been also a member of City Garden Grove for 15 years before we transitioned. So this is cool coming back and getting to be appreciated. The city, a lot of the agencies within the city have always really supported the community and the fire department as a whole. So that's not lost on us. I want to thank the men and women of Orange County Fire, along with many of the other local agencies throughout the state that responded in unprecedented conditions due to the weather and the fires that were burning. So on behalf of the Orange County Fire Authority, thank you. This money will be used to help support our training of our men and women to help continue to provide high levels of service to the communities, Garden Grove included. So thank you.
You know, if I may, I put in my request to say a few words for the sister city, but I guess they all left. You know, when the sister city, when you think about sister city, you cannot help to mention Tom England, Herb Lieberman, all those pioneers who started this in 1989, along with Tom Kim. And I was sister city president twice, and I think I was chaperoned like 5 times. I'm a honorary Anyang citizen for number 28. So it's great that this tradition continues, and with time go by, but I think this relationship, International Sister City, is really meaningful for young people, especially high school kids, when they go to Korea and they really immerse into a different culture, and they are all like a sponge, picking up all the good things. So this keeps on the international friendship. I just wanted to mention that. Thank you, Mayor. Yeah.
Check a little bit higher, just a tad. There, that's perfect.
Thank you.
All right, at this time, we'll move into item number 3 under presentations, which is an update on the comprehensive strategic plan to address homelessness.
Yes, Mayor, this evening we do have Economic Development Director and Assistant City Manager Ursula Luna Reynosa to introduce this item.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council. So tonight we are going to give you a review of our CSPA, Comprehensive Strategic Plan to End Homelessness. It covers the period of 2020 through 2024. And we have been providing quarterly updates to the City Council since the inception of the plan. And tonight, Christy Lee, Administrative Analyst, is going to present an overview of Q4 highlights from 2024. Before I hand the mic over to Christy, though, I'd like to take a moment to thank her for her leadership under last year in 2024 in particular of getting the Navigation Center, the Central Cities Navigation Center up and running. She really took a leadership role, and I'm going to share a story that might embarrass her, but it really shows her dedication, and it was very impressive to me. So on the ribbon cutting day, I get there and folks are starting to come, all the dignitaries, and there are these beautiful flower pots that she had planted over the weekend herself, went to Home Depot, bought the plants to ensure how beautiful the ribbon cutting would be, just to add that extra special touch. And it's just indicative of the work that Christy does. And I just wanted to share that before I hand the mic over to her as she shares with us some updates.
Mayor and members of the City Council, the Comprehensive Strategic Plan to Address Homelessness, or CSPA, was created in 2021 to provide a 5-year roadmap to address short and long-term impacts of homelessness in the city of Garden Grove. Since 2021, we have updated the CSPA to align our achievements in addressing homelessness during fiscal years 2021-2022 and 2022-2023. These updates were approved by the City Council last year and can be found on our city website. The CSPA highlights 5 main goals to address homelessness shown on this slide through community engagement, homelessness prevention, data tracking and street outreach, emergency housing solutions, affordable and supportive housing production and accessibility. Today, we will share the latest updates and milestones achieved in fiscal year 2023 and 2024. First and foremost, the Central Cities Navigation Center. This is a joint effort between Garden Grove, Fountain Valley, Westminster, and the County of Orange. The center, located on West Street in Garden Grove, accommodates 85 beds with the capacity to expand to 100 beds. Many of you have had the opportunity to visit the site. The Navigation Center began operations on June 12, 2024, and is operated by Volunteers of America of Los Angeles, or VOALA. The center is a referral-based facility, meaning clients must meet specific qualifications for admission, including having established ties to one of the 3 participating cities, Garden Grove, Westminster, or Fountain Valley. Since opening, the Navigation Center has streamlined its referral and intake process, onboarded staff, established ongoing on-site activities, offered a variety of resources and services as listed on the slide, including pet accommodations, transportation, and housing navigation in collaboration with Illumination Foundation. In terms of on-site activities, I'd like to highlight a few events recently hosted at the Navigation Center. First of all, our operator VOALA hosts weekly house meetings on Fridays and collaborates with Okapika to provide resume workshops for our clients. The flyers for these events are on this slide. The first photo is our Thanksgiving hosted in collaboration with Hope Community Church, led by Pastor Pablo. He led the Bible study and service attended by over 20 clients on that day. Last month, we had our first monthly community health clinic organized by Vituity in collaboration with community organizations such as WAGS, Pet Shelter, True Connect, and Advanced Beauty College. A flu and vaccination clinic was also hosted last week in partnership with the Orange County Healthcare Agency. And the photo for our first monthly community health clinic is on the slide as well. The table on this slide presents data on clients served, exited, and currently residing at the Navigation Center from all 3 cities since its opening. To date, we have served a total of 257 clients, including 164 Garden Grove clients. We have exited 179 clients for successful housing placements and rehab center placements, or due to non-compliance or pets deemed aggressive or dangerous to other clients. Currently, there are 81 clients at the Navigation Center. In other words, 81 out of 85 beds are currently occupied and 4 out of 85 beds are available. This is a snapshot of the newly launched live data tracking system developed by our economic development team and IT teams. The system is currently available for VOALA to input daily counts and for internal Tri-City management and homeless task force teams from 3 police departments to view. We are currently working on making this information publicly accessible with daily updates. In alignment with our CSPA goals, we have made significant progress in housing placements and programming at the Navigation Center. 90% of our clients are now document ready for housing, thanks to our VOALA case managers. I'd also like to share that today I was informed that one of our clients are document ready, and he was able to attend his final green card interview through the help of our case managers. Our VOALA housing navigators and case managers have done an amazing job with housing placement for 11 clients through family reunification and rehabilitation programs. 2 Navigation Center couples are preparing to transition into our very own Stewart Apartments permanent supportive housing development, thanks to our collaboration with the Housing Authority. Illumination Foundation, and VOALA. We also made significant progress through our programs. 3 clients at the Navigation Center have been enrolled in school. One of them enrolled in Santa Ana College, and 2 of them enrolled into trade school. 28 Navigation Center clients gained employment. With VOALA Transportation Accommodation Staff Assistant and Resume Workshop in collaboration with COCAPICA, 16 out of 28 clients attended our recent Angel Citium Job Fair and secured employment for the upcoming season. Moving on to our next milestone, which is the Caltrans Fencing Improvement Project. The Caltrans Fencing Improvement Project is a collaborative effort between Garden Grove and Caltrans to address the increase in homeless encampments under Caltrans right-of-way areas in Garden Grove. You are familiar with this project, and it consists of 2 key agreements. The first one is the cooperative agreement, with which now totaled $1.5 million. These funds were allocated by Caltrans on a reimbursement basis for Phase 1 and Phase 2 to install fencing, gates, rock slopes, and gravel along underpasses of the 22 freeway from Springdale to Garden Grove Boulevard. On the slide, you will see a map of all the locations we install fences. We install a total of 14 locations within the city of Garden Grove. The areas in purples are in Phase 1 and in green are in Phase 2. On this slide, we're showing the before and after photos for our fencing installation portion of the project. The first location out of the 14 location is Pierce Pedestrian Bridge, and the second location out of the 14 locations is on New Hope Street. The next part of the project is the Delegated Maintenance Agreement, or also known as the DMA. For this Delegated Maintenance Agreement, we are allocated $266,000 for debris abatement and fencing maintenance. Council awarded contracts to the Sailor Group for debris abatement and Quality Fence for fencing maintenance. And the slide includes the before and after photos of the debris abatement scope under the Sailor Group. Our street outreach teams have also made significant strides. Our special resource team made over 5,000 contacts and made over 1,000 referrals to emergency housing. BYOC assisted over 5,000 residents. Emergency shelters assisted 97 individuals, and our rental assistance program assisted 57 households.
I'm briefly going to cover this slide, which is showing some progress or data related to the point-in-time count, or the PIT count. I know many of the council members are familiar with this, but for the purposes of the public, I'm going to briefly explain that it's an effort to estimate the number of people experiencing homelessness on a single night by continuums of care organizations, which in Orange County is the County of Orange, on behalf of the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development, or HUD. So HUD does this nationally as an attempt to understand what homelessness looks like in the United States and presents a report to Congress every year. Per the 2024 PIT, Garden Grove reported a 39% decrease from the 22 PIT. The next count will be in 2026. It's done biannually. I will say that there have been criticisms about the methodology. There are different ways to do this, but this is really just data. It's a snapshot like all data, and we just wanted to present that information to you this evening. We do look at it, but we also look at what we're seeing in the field based on our own experience, and we do feel like our programs with the Navigation Center have been successful in a decline in homelessness. I would now like to introduce Susan Price and have her come up to the mic. But as she's doing that, I'm going to talk a little bit about her experience. So Susan had 14 years working for the City of Long Beach's Continuum of Care. She was then hired as the first director of care coordination with the County of Orange and held the title of Homeless Czar based on her tremendous experience in the space of homelessness. She developed the Regional Service Planning Areas, or SPA, and worked with local jurisdictions to develop regional navigation centers in Orange County. She retired in 2022, and now we have the benefit of her assistance as she's assisting other jurisdictions improve their response to homelessness. What we have retained Ms. Price to do is to conduct an assessment of Garden Grove's system of care. We felt it was very important to do a SWOT analysis to build upon our strengths and opportunities while addressing our weaknesses and threats. And as we are concluding the CSPA, that ended at the end of 2024, and we're preparing a new strategy, we thought it was really important to have Mrs. Price's input and evaluation as we prepared our new strategy. So with that, if you could please share your findings.
Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here in the city of Garden Grove, speaking on a topic that is near and dear to my heart. Thank you for the introduction. If I could just start by saying that I'm super impressed by what I'm seeing here in the city of Garden Grove on a number of levels. And as we go through the next couple of slides, I'm going to share with you some of the things that I've encountered, some of the things I've looked at. I've definitely taken a deep dive into what you are currently doing in the city, and I just have to say that I'm impressed by what I have seen so far in the way that you're managing things and trying to cover all the different components of an appropriate, high-performing system of care. So with that, I just want to mention the Central Cities Navigation Center is really in its first year of operation. What a great time to take an evaluation of kind of the launch of it from construction to operations. Great timing on coming in to take a look at the policies and procedures. We're also under a federal lawsuit in Orange County, not the city of Garden Grove, but the county is. And so with that, you have the county standards of care. And so City of Garden Grove hired VOA to come in and be the operator. Their policies and procedures, I went through that all the way from A to Z. It's a great document, primarily of VOA's agency policies and procedures for how they operate emergency programs. On top of that, it also incorporates the County of Orange standards of care. And so just as a side note, VOA has not operated other shelters in Orange County. This is their first. And I'm just very pleased with what I see. I'm very thankful that you've selected VOA to come into Orange County, bring that regional leadership into the county and operate, connecting the dots in what the county requires. And so I can safely tell you they've covered all the bases. Staffing structure and complement, I was really looking not just at Garden Grove, but also in the Tri-City memorandum with Westminster and Fountain Valley. And so looking at kind of the staffing complement that each one of your cities brings to the table and how that can intersect and work well together. In your first year, it's really kind of, your staff will probably describe, it's a big lift in your first year of operating an emergency shelter. What you will find going forward is a stronger need to collaborate in a broader scale than you initially did to get here. And so I'll talk a little bit more about that in just a moment. Reviewing the Tri-Cities Collaborative MOU, just have to congratulate all of you. As was mentioned, when I was in the County of Orange and created the service planning areas, it was my dream and my vision to do just exactly what you've done here, is to get cities to collaborate, to work together and implement a regional response to homelessness. It's the best and most effective way to respond to homelessness because it's not something any one city will solve within its own borders. And so the other thing I'll say about the MOU is you've secured 10 years worth of county funding at the rate of $625,000 a year for your navigation center. That's brilliant. That's a lot of cities around the country would dream of such an arrangement, and to have these other two cities aligned with you gives you sustainability for the future. Talk a little more about that in a moment. The Navigation Center budget and enhancement opportunities. We're kind of in a moving target right now with the state funding. Coming off of COVID, there was a lot of enhancements on COVID funding. that was used and applied to homeless programs. And so we're seeing those programs are still operating, some of them. But in the coming couple of years, those funds are going to kind of drown away, and we're going to end up with kind of having to evolve with how funding comes out. We're also in the process of a Mental Health Services Act reauthorization coming forward from the state. That will change kind of how things look, and I'll talk a bit more about that in just a moment. Whoever's got the slide. Next slide. So just really quickly, interviews. I interviewed probably 25 folks, all 3 cities, from leadership on down, law enforcement, funded agencies, street outreach teams. A very heavy focus on street outreach because that is kind of the point of entry into your community. What's happening on the ground, what's happening with street outreach, how is the navigation center kind of playing into that, and then of course on the back end is how are we doing on exits from the program. It's kind of too early to tell on exits because we're just not too far into the process there. The field tours, very interesting. The most impactful for me is to ride along with the law enforcement and see what's happening in your community. What I'm looking for is why are people in certain areas of your community and why are they not in other areas of your community? And talking to the police department about something they know well. It's called CPTED, Crime Prevention Through Environmental Design. And what that is basically looking at lighting and walls and bushes and hedges and other things that cause the ability to be able to see and visualize for law enforcement to enforce petty crimes and other aspects in your community, to be able to see through foliage and things of that nature for safety reasons. Documents, I reviewed every document the staff gave me. There's a ton of documents, all to do with homelessness, scopes of work, contracts. Looked a lot into data. We did a lot of work on data. You saw one of the dashboards that the staff had been working on. There's a whole lot more data that we've been mining through to come up with a community dashboard. Next slide, please. Okay, so this slide I'm going to spend a bit of time on and just kind of hone in on some of the pieces that I found. And I want to start by just saying that in the strengths of Garden Grove specifically, even the other 2 cities, but its strengths in Garden Grove have been the way that your city has maximized its resources. From having a housing authority to being an ESG recipient, being a member of the Housing Trust Fund in the county. There's a ton of things that you're doing that you're plugging into. You've got an encampment grant from the state, which is huge. The county applied for one right after you did, and they didn't get it. So there's something going really well here in Garden Grove that you guys got that encampment grant for Beach Boulevard, even though the county didn't. It would have been nice if they did to kind of combine all of that. But you guys are doing really well in bringing in resources and utilizing the resources you have to cover as many bases as you can. The system of care is prevention, street outreach, emergency shelter, income and employment, and housing. Those are basically the 5 bases. And you'll see, you also saw from the first part of the presentation that they're all covered. You're doing something in each one of those areas. So I would say that's your strength. VOA is another strength. I talked about that a little bit, bringing them into Orange County, their regional experience, the depth of their bench. They have a lot of staff that can help. I spent a lot of time talking to them as I review things in Garden Grove, and they're just a pleasure to work with. Street outreach resources, your SRT team with the police department. You've got the Be Well program, which is one of the things that I worked heavily to establish when I was in the County of Orange. I'm a strong supporter of the Be Well movement. And then the other cities with civilian outreach, nonprofit outreach, and their law enforcement. Street medicine also is another one coming from the county. So you've got a lot of multidisciplinary stakeholders conducting outreach in your city and in the other 2 cities. So that's great. And then of course the Tri-City collaboration. Can't say enough about it. Congratulations for that, because it's really sustainable to do work that way. So I want to talk about weaknesses, but I don't like the word weakness. I struggle with that. I didn't find a lot of weaknesses in the work that Garden Grove is doing. What I did find are gaps. So there's always going to be gaps that you're going to experience when you're trying to develop and build a system of care. Access to behavioral health beds has been an ongoing challenge, not just in this county, but in all counties. And I'm working with several of them now to try to work on that gap. But mental health resources and addictions treatment resources are going to be critical. And those are county-funded, county-operated programs. And so as cities, we all have to collaborate with counties to make sure we have access to those. And having Be Well in your city is how you've been able to do that up to this point. Silos in funding, communication, and partnerships, primarily that's just the nature of the game. All your funding is going to fund a little piece of what and a little piece of that, and you have to coordinate and integrate those efforts. That's the biggest challenge, is you can fund a lot of things, but you have to be able to figure out how to integrate them into a systemic approach to homelessness. That's how you end it. That's how you reduce those numbers. On opportunities, I think the biggest opportunity here, and I'm pretty familiar with Garden Grove, is harnessing the momentum of your community. You've got a lot of assets in your community that could play a role and participate in the efforts going forward. Not just your community, but also if you combine with Westminster and Fountain Valley in their community, you may find untapped resources that can be leveraged and brought into the fold. It was mentioned earlier by Christy Lee about the Angels. 16 people got employed through the Angels organization. That is amazing. Keep doing things like that, because there's a lot of corporates and a lot of businesses, not just in your community, but regionally in Orange County, that are willing to help and get your clients to employment and income so that they can be housed. Integration, I said, with the county resources, obviously behavioral health and addictions treatment is going to be very critical. On threats, another word I struggle with, but the threats that you all have are not unique to Garden Grove. These are things that are happening across the state. Is changes in funding. Coming off of COVID, we're losing a lot of that COVID enhanced funding that was used for homelessness, not just here, but around you, in the region, in the county of Orange. So with the loss of that funding, let's see, change in demographics of the homeless population. When I was out doing the ride-alongs, seeing a younger population, seeing a population that's not chronically homeless, hasn't been homeless over a year, and a lot more fentanyl or opiate, it looks like opiates to me. And so when I see that change in the population, the resources are not necessarily evolving as quickly as the needs of the demographic on the street. And so what I like about what I see in Garden Grove is the fact that you come forward with compassion to offer the resources to the folks that are seeking help. But you're also engaged in mitigation. There's nothing wrong with providing mitigation for the quality of life in your community and making sure that, you know, like the Caltrans fencing is going up and the SEPTED of, you know, looking at environmental design and sensor lights and other things to promote safety for your businesses and for the customers of those businesses. And so with that, I'm just, the other piece on the threats is a threat that we all face, and that is creativity on finding the affordable housing that's necessary. Garden Grove is one of, is it 3 or 4 housing authorities. Sometimes that can be a benefit. You know, with things going on in the federal government and the federal budget right now, we don't know whether HUD will be able to come through with some of those resources. And so really just keeping your hand on the pulse of what's happening and the changes in funding will emerge victorious as a city because of the diversity of resources that you've already got at play, the way that you've allocated them to fund 9 nonprofits that are doing work in all these sectors in your community. Yeah, I really commend all of you for the work that you've done to this point. It's impressive, as I started out by saying. Not so much that I would say anything negative here at all. I just want to say that providing assistance and mitigating the impacts of the broader community is key. Your partnerships with Caltrans is excellent. The Beach Boulevard Encampment Grant. Finally, I'll just end by saying that the county behavioral health system and CalAIM, I failed to mention CalAIM, the Medi-Cal resources for the populations that you're serving at your shelters will lead to greater success in your outcomes over time. So with that, I will send it back over to Tim Throne.
Actually, to me real quick.
Oh,
yes.
And I'll be available for any questions
After. Thank you very much, Susan. I would now like to introduce Timothy Throne, project manager. He will provide a high-level overview of our draft new strategy to cover fiscal year 2025-2026 through 2029-2030. I wanted to share a little story about Timothy. So he and Christy worked on that encampment grant, and they put that application in before I started my employment with the city of Garden Grove. But we received word after I had already worked here. And Lisa was well aware of their effort, and she was the first one to be made aware that we got this grant. And I remember her walking down the hallway and sharing the news with Timothy and Christy, and they were so excited. And then I later heard the story that they were like up until midnight working on that application to get it in. And so they worked really hard on it. And I appreciate Susan's acknowledgement that we were able to get that grant while the county was not. And thank you both for your efforts on that. I wanted to just mention that homelessness has been moved into the neighborhood improvement division of the department, and that was partially through interacting with Susan and her assessment, and we felt like it was a more efficient way to align resources. So a lot of the resources that the neighborhood improvement team oversees do fund some of the partners that we work with, and it made sense that as we were able to launch the navigation center and get it up and running, we do know that our big challenge into the future is moving people into housing after that. And neighborhood improvement oversees funds related to housing opportunities as well. So under the supervision of Monica Covarrubias, Tim will be managing the day-to-day functions of the new strategy, which is taking kind of a wider, more holistic approach of this sort of integrated system. And Christy will, of course, continue to be a part of those efforts as well. So with that, Tim.
Thank you, Ursula, for that amazing story. And I doubt, just a side note, I doubt that's the last time I'll be spending the wee hours of the morning on an application for funding. And I also just wanted to say thank you to Susan Price for the year-long effort to get this assessment prepped for today and to really take us into the next 5 years with our plan to address homelessness. With that, I'll just say good evening, Mayor and Council members. It's my pleasure to present the updated Garden Grove homeless strategy. And before you have this one-page infographic that really details our goals and objectives moving into the next 5 years. And over the past year, we've worked with Susan Price and numerous stakeholders to analyze our current system of care and really develop this comprehensive strategy to address homelessness in our city. Before we get into specifics of the strategy, I'd like to begin with just going over the vision and mission statements. So the vision statement is housing security is attainable for all. And really we wanted to focus this vision on acknowledging the housing affordability in Orange County, as well as underscoring our commitment to ensuring access to stable and affordable housing for all individuals, including homeless and those who are at risk. And our focus is not only on providing just shelter, but ensure long-term housing solutions. So rental units and then hopefully eventually a home. Next, we have the mission statement, and that's to respectfully provide resources with dignity to those on their journey seeking housing security. And the mission is really centered on trust building with the population. And you know, it's really important to build the trust because a lot of times the homeless and at-risk populations, they've had that trust knocked away in numerous avenues, right? Their lack of trust for the system and their lack of trust with really government is an issue that we have to overcome. So building that trust and working with them to get them permanently housed is really our focus here with the mission. It's important to provide resources and services with dignity to build that trust and to support individuals on their path to housing. And then next, I'll go ahead and briefly touch on the various goals. So we have 4 different goals that we're going to be focusing on in the next 5 years, so through 2025 through 2030. The first goal is to enhance communication and community engagement. And we plan to do this by effectively sharing information with all stakeholders, usually using multiple modes of communication. Additionally, we plan to strengthen the Tri-Cities collaboration with proactive, unified messaging. And this is really important because a strong communication strategy ensures that all stakeholders, from residents, businesses, service providers, government organizations, are all aligned in addressing homelessness. Next, we have the second goal, which is enhanced service delivery system to improve response to homelessness. And we plan to do this in a variety of ways, so 5 different ways. Susan mentioned really the system of care that we plan to tackle. And really there's 5 different areas. It's prevention, so preventing at-risk individuals from becoming homeless, finding and connecting homeless individuals with resources through our various street outreach programs, evaluating shelter operations for continued improvement and efficiencies, ensuring shelter operator is incorporating employment training and income and benefit opportunities to raise their income and to ensure that they can sustain that housing once they're into the rental unit. And then to leverage resources to increase housing opportunities on the back end, so rental opportunities. And this is important because time is of the essence when it comes to serving the homeless population. The quicker we can get in there and assist, so the prevention, it prevents them from becoming homeless, right? And really additional needs that come with becoming homeless and a vulnerable population. And a well-structured service system can proactively prevent that and prevent someone from becoming homeless. The next goal I'll talk about is leveraging partnerships, funding, resources to maximize utilization to the benefit of the clients. And we plan to do this by collaborating with regional partners to access resources and maximizing funding opportunities. As mentioned, I'll probably be spending the wee hours of the morning applying for additional grants to try to fill gaps in funding that we have in the future. And this is important because expanding partnerships and maximizing funding opportunities will expand service capacity and improve long-term outcomes for those who we serve. And then lastly, we really want to focus on improving quality of life for Garden Grove residents, businesses, and stakeholders. And we plan to evaluate homeless policies and identify regional alignment opportunities with our Tri-Cities collaboration. We plan to continue the encampment prevention through environmental designs and develop tools to enable real-time communication and deployment of resources. And this is super important because we want a well-balanced approach that ensures that homeless response efforts contribute to safer neighborhoods, stronger businesses, and improved quality of life for all residents of Garden Grove. So in closing, this updated strategy is designed to drive meaningful change in Garden Grove's approach to homelessness over the next 5 years. By enhancing communication, improving service delivery, leveraging partnerships, and prioritizing quality of life, we will create a more effective and compassionate system of care for individuals experiencing homelessness. This concludes our presentation, and please feel free to reach out if you have any questions.
So I wanted to just mention that this is an outline of the strategy. We are still, it's a work in progress still. It will be further developed. We want to add KPIs, so we have metrics that we're actually measuring for success. And we want to align this with the fiscal year. So really, we're already starting to do some things. I can give a specific example. When we did our recent RFP for service providers under our HUD programming, we really took into account some of the input we were receiving from Susan about ensuring we were efficiently using resources. Now that we have a better idea of what we are trying to accomplish as we evaluate those proposals, are we giving the money to the right organizations that are going to do the things that we're trying to achieve? And so, I mean, so we're already starting to implement some of these things. But as we have a couple more months, we plan to come back in June with a more updated strategic plan with the KPIs, and also include an annual action plan. And we want that to coincide with the budget process so that we can ensure that our resources are matching our actions of what we're trying to do and accomplish. And so we will be coming back in June with that document so a more comprehensive document with those details. I mentioned earlier that one of the biggest accomplishments of the CSPA was getting the navigation center up and running. It was a big lift. It was, a long project. It was the collaboration with the Tri-Cities, all of that, and the surrounding resources that we've been able to put into place as well. It's going very well. To give you a little bit of a face of some of the folks in there, we actually have some seniors that are in there, and they've been in there for quite some time. And it's run so well that I think they're a little reluctant to leave, which is kind of a good sign of meaning like they're probably going to be successful when they do leave. But they're a little nervous. We do have a TBRA, a tenant-based rental assistance program, where we have some funding, but it would only provide funding for a couple of years. And they're really nervous about, based on their current incomes, what happens when that funding runs out. We don't want to be on the streets homeless again. We'd rather stay here. I mean, that's an example of kind of the challenge that we're facing at this point. So the shelter is, practically at capacity. And so our real challenge moving forward is going to be moving folks into permanent supportive housing. That will be the key challenge and lift that we have in the next 5 years. And with that, I want to tease an item that will be coming before you at the first meeting in April, the April 8th meeting. And it's an award letter for a project. So we did do an RFP. We do have some affordable housing funds, and we had 3 different developers respond. The one that was selected was leveraging the resources the best, and that's one of the things we look at, along with references and other things. So this is a project at a partnership at St. Anselm's Church, and they are going through the process of looking for additional funding. But they need an award letter from us to be competitive on some of that funding. So it's an item that's coming before you. It would be producing approximately 85 affordable units, with 21 of them being permanent supportive housing for seniors. So it's all a senior complex, and then with wraparound services, but in particular medical clinical services for the seniors staying at that facility. It's an amazing project. If any of you are familiar with the history of St. Anselm's, they were the church that really helped the Vietnamese refugees when they were coming here to the United States kind of assimilate into this country. They provided tremendous assistance there. So it's a really strong part of our community narrative. They also are very active in OC Koreatown. They have a lot of folks there that are speak multiple languages, Korean, Vietnamese, Spanish. It really speaks well to our kind of populations here in Garden Grove, including English. And so it's a great potential partnership. There's a long way to go. As Susan mentioned, funding is short these days. And so just a little bit of a tease of how this all works together, right? We have the navigation center. We're talking about how we need to provide some permanent supportive housing. There's a potential opportunity, and we're going to continue to try to rise to the challenge and get this continuous spectrum in place to help our Garden Grove residents. And then finally, before I open it up to questions, adding the quality of life component into the strategic plan was important. We think that the majority of residents, we are spending a tremendous amount of resources on homelessness, and it's important that our residents are able to enjoy their parks, enjoy their homes. And I know we hear complaints every meeting, and I'm not saying that it's perfect and we fixed it. We know we have a way to go, and why that was important to add this quality of life component. It is a challenging situation. There's different state laws and different things that we have to work with, but we hear the community loud and clear. We want to help everyone, and this is hopefully a step in that direction. So with that, I will open it up to any questions or comments, but do know that we will be coming back in June.
Thank you so much. What an incredible presentation. We'll go ahead and take a few questions. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a couple comments, and then I do have a couple questions also. First, thank you. We haven't had a update like this in a while. Since you've come on board, I think we've moving the meter a little bit, and thank you, Timothy. And I know last year we had a couple of senior staff members retire. Danny was one, and he left behind a lot of work, and I know you've inherited a long list of applicants. In fact, I got a phone call today, and the message I've relayed to our city manager. I've also related to our director, Ursula, here. I don't have your cell phone, so I didn't send it to you, Tim. But I'm concerned that we need to be able to reach out and have language-specific services. We used to have a Vietnamese community liaison. I don't know if we still do or who's replaced that, but you certainly need some help language-wise. Korean, Chinese, Spanish. All of these communities needs to be served. I would recommend that we put some information on our website. We have a GG City website that's very useful to put out these announcements and boil it down. We got a lot of information tonight, very helpful, but sometimes the general public's not here in the audience. They're not even watching at home, but they need to get this information. And I remind people, we have a GG City app that you can download into your phone and check for messages, and hopefully we can post some updates. I'm very concerned about our senior citizens or disabled, not just homeless people, but the most vulnerable of our population. They need service. I've heard the voice message I've been left today. The applicants are waiting up to 15 years, and they haven't heard back from us. That's a long time. It used to be 7, then it became 10, then 12. Now it's 15 years before they even hear back from us, whether we have a place for them. So I'm happy to hear we have some developments coming. We have some partners trying to develop more affordable housing, and we have a housing element that we have to meet, and that's a lot of work for you guys already there. So I'm asking our public to be patient, that we are working on it. We are moving the ball. We have a navigation center. Thank you for coming in and updating us on that, but there's a lot of work to be done. And I told people it comes from the housing and urban development. It comes all the way from the federal level. We know what we're going through with DOGE and everything else. State, we have an outgoing governor who isn't able to do very much on his way out. So we have to wait a little bit longer for all of these efforts to show results. And I'm looking forward to that, because I'm going to be right up there. I'm already a senior citizen, like a lot of us, right? We saw how our senior citizens, like the Korean Senior Association, they contribute to our community. They give back. And we need to keep them here. We have to be able to create the environment, the conditions, so that our seniors and the most vulnerables in our city will have a place to live. And remember, I want to focus on the larger population. It's not just the homeless that we see getting housed temporarily, but long-term housing. Please work on that. And any information you can post on the website will be most helpful. Thanks again.
Councilmember.
Yeah. I just want to take a second here, because I'm really proud of this dais, but more than that, our staff. Tim and Chrissy, you guys have been doing a wonderful job. You know, a lot of cities, you hear the term the homeless industrial complex, and quite frankly, in a lot of cities, that's how it is. They're just throwing money at companies, and there's really no motivation for them to actually help or eliminate the problem, because if they do, now they don't have a job anymore. You know, and my hat is off to you, especially for taking this diocese vision and running with it so successfully as you have. Garden Grove, in the last point in time count, enjoyed not just a small reduction. I think there was a handful of cities in California that did manage a small reduction, 1 or 2%. Garden Grove had over 30% reduction. I mean, that's just unheard of. And that was before we opened the Navigation Center. And that was before we passed the camping ordinance. And the impact is dramatic. When I first got elected, the complaints about the homeless population were just nonstop. Now it's rare. We still have an issue. I'm not saying we don't. We still have some encampments in the flood control channels. We still have a couple along the freeways that have to keep getting cleared out. But the progress made in this city is probably beyond anywhere else in this state, quite frankly. And it's largely due to our staff. You guys have just been doing an outstanding job. So I just wanted to point that out. Our reduction numbers, was it like 32%? 39%. I mean, think about that in a government type of program or something. That's unheard of. That's unheard of. And that's before we started doing a lot of these bigger things, like I said. So I'm very hopeful our next point in time count will be even more dramatically lower, knock on wood. But again, these successes are largely due to our staff and our council being able to focus them in a focused manner, saying this is what we want. We're doing it very lean. We're not a rich city. We don't have billions of dollars to just throw at businesses and say, handle it. We're doing it, as efficiently as we can, as pointed out. But we're also having the most impact. So kudos to you guys. The best thing that possibly could happen would be you guys would be out of a job. And quite frankly, if that happens and you attain that success, I'm going to make sure we find you somewhere else with a promotion to land. Okay? But so don't feel that you're working your way out of a job, because we're going to make sure we'll keep you guys busy.
Any other comments or questions? Please.
I myself have a compliment to the team, because on last Monday, I have a chance to join with Assistant City Manager Matt West and Sheila Tim, that we actually went visit and observe 3 different locations for the affordable home. And it's also, I learned so much about the program that we're doing. It's so meticulous. It's very good that we are not just helping the people that have a place to live. We also support them with a variety of such as like healthcare, nutrition, and employment opportunity too. So that mental health, that's very impressive. And I would love to get involved more, and so we can cut down, like George said, that we can cut down the amount of the homeless, get them into the regular life like the rest of us, help them, and so we can cut down the homeless out there. Thank you so much.
I want to thank you guys for putting together such a wonderful presentation, and thank you, Ms. Price, for assisting us here in the city of Garden Grove and providing us your really invaluable insight, and so that we can look back but also look forward. Excellent presentation. I do have some questions with regards to specifically the contacts made by the Special Resources Team and the Be Well Mobile Response Team, because I note that they've made, at least with the SRT, 5,370 contacts with 1,025 referrals to emergency housing, which I believe is a really great number in terms of like an industry standard of them being able to refer folks to housing. So congratulations to our SRT team, wherever they may be tonight. But as also the Be Well Mobile Response Team assisting 5,072 Garden Grove residents. My question with regards to these figures is, what is the size of our SRT team today? And with regards to these 1,025 referrals to emergency housing, obviously we have the Central Cities Navigation Center, which we've seen has serviced several hundred folks, but that still leaves us with several hundreds of other folks. Where are these individuals being referred to? And with regards to the mobile response team, with these assistances, do we know if these folks receive any further long-term care? Do they also get some sort of referral or medical placement elsewhere.
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and talk about the SRT first. So in regard to the referrals for services, so Christy mentioned there were, I believe it was 97 individuals referred to emergency shelter and received assistance through other emergency shelters that aren't the CCNC. We do fund other navigation centers and emergency shelters that are located in other cities through our other funding sources. So for Emergency Solutions Grant, we fund emergency shelter with Illumination Foundation as well as Interval House. So those are options that the PD refers to. In addition, if there's no beds available in those facilities, then the next option would be then to refer them to the coordinated entry system and then to try to find a bed through the coordinated entry system. And then in regards to the Be Well mobile response, so there are longer term facilities in terms of mental health. They do have a campus over in, I believe it's Orange, and they do have, I believe it's 90 days treatment. So they do provide mental health and stabilization services for individuals experiencing mental episodes. So yeah, did I answer your question fully? Did you have another part to that?
I just want to know how big our SRT team is at this moment.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and members of the City Council. Our SRT is made up of 4 officers, a sergeant and a lieutenant, and given the priority of the council, Chief Alfaro has transferred on loan 2 additional officers to assist and expand our SRT support.
Thank you. And knowing those numbers, the 5,000 figure is all the more impressive. So I want to commend our SRT officers and also the chief for such good work in making all of those contacts and helping all those folks out. Thank you.
Councilwoman, did you have a comment?
Thank you so much for this presentation, very insightful. I did have a couple questions tonight. How are the neighbors around the navigation responding to having it nearby?
Great question. I'm not aware of any complaints. I think early on there were some parking complaints because the navigation center is restrained, but we were able to go find some off-site parking opportunities and thankfully some great property owners to partner with there. And we are continuing to look for, parking, long-term parking solutions. It's a bit of a challenging problem, but we're going to continue to look for a longer-term solution. But I think that the virtue that it is not a walk-up facility, you have to be referred there, and that is being managed very well, that it is not a problem. We're not hearing a lot of complaints. Or I'm not aware of any, but I know the minute I say that, I'm going to get one. So.
Knock on wood. If I may also add, Council Member Moyenton, at the initial onset of establishing a Central Cities Navigation Center, there was direct community engagement. We invited our neighbors, including all the businesses that were adjacent to the future or the current navigation site, and all collectively were very supportive. They appreciated additional police presence and an enhanced service to the community. So overall, everyone was very excited to see the building transform and really continue to provide resources to our community.
One more question. Since Garden Grove passed the ordinance to ban camping in public places, how has the state of homelessness in Garden Grove changed?
I will attempt to answer that question, but I would certainly, if Chief Alfaro is nearby, he can certainly also add to my comments. In our conversations with our SRT team, it is one of the tools in their toolbox. As the council directive and as we've consistently been, we lead with compassion first. When we engaged with an in-house population, they are offered services, and if there is a crime or any, they're breaking the law, then we do have then those are some options available to our officers. So I know Chief Alfaro is here as well to expand on that. Thank you.
Nothing has really changed since the implementation of that anti-camping ordinance. It's just another tool for our officers to use if they need be. The previous statutes that we have been using have been very effective. We're grateful for that ordinance on the books, but we're still approaching our homeless efforts through our traditional methods that were successful in the past. So, if it's not broken, don't fix it. So, but it's going well, and it's another tool in there if we need it.
Thank you.
My goodness. Thank you all so much. What a robust presentation. Thank you to staff, obviously to our police. Susan Price, thank you so much. Your tacit knowledge and just your ability to break this down and to transparently go over this information and share with us all that you did this evening. It's so appreciated. Thank you very much for your time and dedication to your craft and all that you've done for homelessness. I've had the good fortune of sitting on this council since 2016, so I've been able to see a lot of this come to fruition, the tweaks and changes, figuring out what works best, and really tailoring a plan that fits the needs of Garden Grove, the unhoused population, and to help the community, bringing in different agencies, and I think really developing and showcasing what it means to have shared vision and shared goals, to have a council priority just so deeply rooted to say we want to address this and tackle this head on. Really making this our number one priority. I think at this point it shows. Obviously to the community, there's always room for improvement. There's always work to be done, but I couldn't be more proud of the efforts thus far. The numbers don't lie. The data is showing that we have found a formula that is working, and to see that continue to grow and flourish in the community is a testament to all of you. So thank you so much for the presentation this evening. With that, we will move to oral communications. Somebody says it's going to be a quick one now. I have several pink cards this evening. First up will be Nicholas Dibbs.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. My name is Nicholas Dibbs. I have a couple of things three items actually to bring and ask for action. I'll start off with two quotes. First one is, "An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure." We need to protect our children, and they're precious, and so there's crisis going on, so that's that one. And the other one is, it takes a village to raise a child or children. It takes a village, and the city does have a role in both protecting children as well as helping to bring much-needed positive change. So the first item, and I've emailed this to the council members and the mayor, of the Kids Off Social Media Act, and that has been passed. It says 87% of mothers agree that social media companies should not be allowed to use personalized recommendation systems to deliver content to children. The Pew Research Service finds similar levels of concern from parents, reporting that 70% or more of parents worry that their teens are being exposed to explicit content or wasting too much time on social media, with 2/3 of parents saying that parenting is harder today compared to 20 years ago, and many of them cited social media as a contributing factor. The point is this: I'm asking that the city establish on its website a page for resources for parents, community members, and young people to become more aware of these harms that are out there and solutions. And so I'm asking the council to have a resolution to support the Kids Off Social Media Act. Secondly, I'd like to bring to the council's attention a need for a second resolution, and this comes from an organization called Song for Charlie, so songforcharlie.org. And it says, as we enter March, we're reminded of the recent tragic overdoses in Santa Rosa, California, where four high school students overdosed on fentanyl-laced cocaine, 2 of them fatally. And this underscores that despite progress, young lives remain at great risk. So April 29th is National Fentanyl Awareness Day, and you have a resolution before you on item 4 of adoption of Women's History Month. I'd like to ask that you put it on the agenda for the next meeting of having April 29th, declaring that as National Fentanyl Awareness Day in Garden Grove. And then the second resolution, I already mentioned the first one. Okay. So those are two things that are very important, and there's coming up if people go to songforcharlie.org, they will see the run, LA Big 5K Marathon to help bring awareness of fentanyl. And that'll be the Saturday, March 15th. So go to songforcharlie.org. I'm already out of time, but I have the handouts here. Please put those items on the agenda. Thank you.
Next speaker will be Kyle Mason.
Hello, Council. I'm Kyle Mason. Of course, you guys have seen me in the past. The last time I was here, I thanked the police department for doing their job and being around. I guess you guys have been keeping them real busy because I haven't seen them. The only thing I've got are a bunch of homeless people in the riverbeds, and they're living down there. In fact, I had to chase them out on my way here to the meeting. There's 6 of them right over there, and then they're just, how do we get rid of them? This is right here on Gilbert by the Social Security building. You need to put a gate down below so they can't get in down there. If you put a gate, a police gate, a jail door, so that way they can't get in there, that'll stop 80% of a lot of the situations. What does it take to get something like that put down there? Do you guys know that there was a person stabbed on Chapman and Beach? Right in the neck. I know, I'm a security guard, by the way. I work for 2 different companies. They both are pulling me because they know I do great work. I've worked for both of them in the past. But watching the man get pulled away with the thing stuck in his neck looks awful bad, you guys. I'm telling you now, it's going to be moving our way because everything goes from Beach and it comes all the way over to Gilbert, right there underneath that bridge. You've got to put a jail door down there to stop the people from going down there. I mean, here's pictures. What does it take? So many pictures of all these people going down into the riverbed to get these people. And then all the stuff at nighttime they have over there. It is unreal. You ought to see the stuff they got cooking down there, too. Barbecues and everything. Please? You guys were doing a great job for a long time. What'd you guys do with the policemen? Did you fire them? Because we haven't seen anybody around at all. Catalytic converters on our streets, we had 6 of them stolen on our street in the last 2 weeks. I tell you what, I'm going to get out there and yes, I'm going to start wearing my badge and I'm going to be out there with them and I'm not going to be doing what the policemen are doing. The hospitals have rooms. Apparently the jails are full, from what I'm understanding. And once again, the hospitals aren't full. We'll put them in there. I've been asking, I've been begging. A jail door needs to be put down there in that hallway to keep the people from going down in that riverbed. What does it take? We've already pulled 3 dead people out of there. I've been there 20 years. We want it stopped. I'm asking you, please. I'm begging you, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Last card this evening is Mark Obar.
Hello, everyone. I'm a resident of the Meadowbrook Townhomes. We're located between Newland Avenue and Yawkey Street. We're just south of Garden Grove Boulevard. And I'm here tonight to address the homeless situation that's impacting the Meadowbrook Townhome community. A couple things that were brought up tonight in the presentation you gave, quality of life. The homeless situation is negatively impacting the quality of life of the residents of the townhome community in which I live. The land between our property and the 22 freeway is an area where the homeless go in and camp. Now, they were cleared out of there, but they've returned. They have fires there at night. They climb over the wall between, well, it's not a wall, they climb over the fence between the freeway property and our property. They come onto our property, they commit acts of vandalism, and they threaten people there. They've destroyed mailboxes and lights. They've destroyed our pool house. We had to have that remodeled. We really need a barrier. Now, I saw that part of the plan to control the situation was effective barriers along those parts of the freeway, but we don't have such a barrier adjacent to my property. And I'm wondering if that's in the plans that you are developing, because we really need one. They've cut a hole in the chain link fence on new land so they can and they use it as a footpath to get between there and Yawkey. It doesn't really inhibit movement at all. The other thing is, you talked about collaboration with regional partners. Is it possible that the regional partners could help provide some funding to get such a barrier fence up there? Because it would help a lot in keeping our community safe and keeping the property from being destroyed. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, sir. Those are all the pink cards I have for this evening. Anyone else wishing to speak on any item? Okay, seeing none, we will recess our council meeting and move on to other legislative business. We'll move into successor agency. If I could have roll call, please.
Member Bredigan?
Here.
Member Nguyen?
Here.
Member Dovin?
Present.
Member Aristegui?
Here.
Vice Chair Muñetón?
Here.
Chair Klopfenstein?
Here.
And Member Tran is absent.
Oral communications was held simultaneously with other legislative bodies. We have one item, receive and file the minutes from the meeting held on February 25th. I'll entertain a motion unless.
I'll move it.
Great. I have a motion and a second. Please call for the vote.
Motion received, 6 yes votes.
Any matters from agency members? Seeing none, we will go ahead and adjourn and head back to our city council meeting. That brings us on to the consent calendar. This can be taken as one motion unless anyone has an item to pull.
I'll move it if there's no one requiring to pull.
I have a motion and a second. Please call for the vote.
Motion received, 6 yes votes.
Moving on to items for consideration, we have item 13, award a contract to Point and Pay LLC for merchant services.
Yes, this evening we have Finance Director Patricia Song to provide that staff report.
Clerk, good evening, Madam Mayor and members of the City Council. This item before you tonight is a contract with Point and Pay for merchant services. Merchant services allows the city to accept, process credit card and debit card payments. So the service includes payment processing, point-of-sale systems, online payment gateways, and merchant accounts. By offering these services, the city can provide residents and businesses with convenient payment options other than cash and check, thus improving the efficiency and accessibility. Since 2008, the city has used Fidelity National Information Services, or FIS, for merchant services. Current contract with FIS expires at the end of June this year. So to ensure cost efficiency, transparency, and access to the latest security and fraud protection technology, the city initiated a competitive bidding process in October 2024. We received 8 proposals, which were evaluated by a committee consisting of Deputy Finance Director, the Revenue Manager, and the Senior IT Analyst. The team focused on key factors such as transaction processing, user experience, reporting functionality, and the cost. Following the initial review, 5 firms were invited for interviews and system demonstrations. Point and Pay emerged as the top-ranked provider due to its strong technical capabilities, advanced reporting functions, security features, customer support, and competitive pricing. The team also conducted reference checks, and all feedbacks came back with overwhelming positive comments. The estimated annual service cost is approximately $450,000, and it's based on transaction volume. This expense will be included in the operating budget and funded through the general fund and utility funds. The proposed contract includes an initial term of 3 years, starting July 1st, 2025, with automatic annual renewals unless terminated with a 60-day notice. This is consistent with our current agreement with FIS. It's a commonly used practice in the merchant service industry. So before each renewal, the staff will review the fee schedule to ensure costs remain reasonable and competitive. That concludes my report, and we recommend the City Council approve the contract with point and pay, and happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you so much. Mayor Pro Tem, question?
I do have a couple of questions, Patricia. One is the cost, $450,000. Is that over the span of 3 years, or is that per annum?
It's per year.
Per year.
Yes.
Okay. Is that cost built into the payment system where the payer bears that cost, or is that what we incorporate?
The cost is not passed through onto the customer, so the city bears the cost.
Okay. Last question. What percentage of the payment is going to come through point and pay? People do mail in their payment. They do come to the counter to pay. What percentage will be processed through this point of sale?
It depends on the type of the transaction. The e-checks, the credit card, the debit cards, and the card type all drives the actual costs. So we have the fee schedule with very comprehensive rate structure. What staff can do is review the types of the transactions, making sure that is receiving the lowest possible. For example, when we take payments over the phone, we would ask for the security code, and that pushes the transactions into the next level to lower the payments. Otherwise, the merchants or the service provider would be categorizing it into a higher risk category, charging or assessing higher fee to the city to clear the transaction.
Okay, I do have a comment. I want to explore the possibility of offsetting the cost to the city to build it in with the customer. If they have a choice to pay through the system or not, they should be able to share some of that cost with us, because it seems like this cost is going up. Am I right that it is more than the last contract?
The cost is more than the last contract. However, the rates, it's substantially the same, and some of the categories we were able to negotiate to a lower rate. The increase of the total cost is really due to the transaction volume we're estimating is going up. And every year that transaction volume has been going up by 3 to 5% each year for the past 3 years.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So there's no usury fee on this, like 2% per transaction, 3% per transaction, or is this covers that? There's no extra percentage per transaction?
The fee, if you're asking about the city's assessing the fee on the transactions.
Well, generally the credit card does.
The credit card.
The company you contract in this case would be what, Point Pay?
Point Pay, yeah.
They would assess a 2% fee on each transaction, or a 3% fee. Like when you go to an ATM and they charge you a fee to use it,
Right.
Similar. I'm assuming because we're paying this $450,000 that there will be none of that.
Their service fee is actually embedded in the entire $450. So we pay point and pay the gross fee, and they would give to all the gateway companies, the banks that issues the credit cards, the different clearing agencies. So it is a it's a system that the point and pay, it's our gateway to accept all of the monies and putting the payments into our bank account. So they have to pass through a lot of the charges to them so that the money can be deposited into our bank account.
So this $450 is an addition to whatever they charge the customer.
It's everything. No, they don't. Well, they don't charge the customers, and a
Okay.
lot of customers.
That's all what I wanted to make clear. There's no extra fees then.
No, there's no extra fees to the customers. If the customers are going to pay the fees, it has to be the company or us, the agency who's accepting credit card payments, that we assess a fee, but we don't. So the credit card holders or the customers do not incur any additional costs.
How about folks using PayPal, Apple Pay, that kind of stuff? Would they be able to process it with this, or is this strictly credit cards?
This has all kinds of payment options.
So they could possibly use those.
We
type
are
of-
not sure about Apple Pay, but we have all the other, like pay over the phone, and the other payment methods. Yes, yeah, they can look into it to see if they can add Apple Pay as a
Okay,
payment
that's
method
good,
as well.
because I mean, as technology progresses, we should probably progress along with it.
Yes.
So I'm glad about that. All
Absolutely.
right, thank you.
For the council's information, about 10 years ago, the prior finance director brought to the council the proposal to have the customer pay what the credit card company charges the vendor, in this case the city, and the city council did not want to approve that at that time. And since then, we have not brought back to council a proposal to transfer the cost, and instead, the city is paying for the transaction fees that normally the customer would pay.
Madam Mayor? I'd like to bring it to a vote again. Or we can vote on it again. I'd like to bring it. Okay, well, that's my opinion. If we have to agendize it, we will at the next meeting.
Was it maybe under matters? Do you want to bring that up then? Yeah.
Yeah, I think we can move forward with this item, and then we can come back and address that, because it's something that we can address in an amendment or adopt our own fee to mirror what this company is charging us to process these payments. And I understand what Councilman Bradley was talking about. If you're using credit cards, a different fee than an e-check versus a debit card versus cash.
And that's a customer's choice, what they want to use.
Correct.
So I
Okay, so just point of clarification, we're going to move forward with this item, and Mayor Pro Tem can bring that up as an item.
Well, he already did, so we can bring it back.
Oh, okay.
As an item for discussion, unless the city council.
Does he need a second on that?
Well, only for action, but I don't know if the city manager also has the authority to bring items back for action, and that we do need to do a little bit of work to
I'll second
to make
it
a
just in
recommendation
case.
to the council, right? So
Thank
I
you,
don't know
George.
that we can come back.
I
at
got
the
a
next
second,
meeting.
so one way or another, it's going to get back on the agenda.
Okay.
I just want to make one quick comment before we close this item out, and that is, this is a convenience fee. I go to every city, every county, LA county, and so on, and I run a credit card, I get a fee. Okay? So it's nothing unusual, and I'm kind of surprised the last council voted it down, which is fine. I want to vote it up, and I want it on the agenda. Thank you.
Any other comments? Otherwise,
I just
I'll
want
I'll
to
move the item.
clarify that this item is really to request the city council to approve the contract. The
Yes.
fee would be a separate action that we can
Yes.
incorporate into the city's fee schedule if the council approves. So we're here really tonight, I'm here to request the city council to consider approving this contract so we don't have an interruption to the services.
I'll move it. Oh, second.
All right, we have a motion, a second. Call for the vote, please.
Motion received, 6 yes votes.
Fence.
We'll move on to matters. We have an update on the Economic Development Strategic Plan as requested by City Manager Lisa Kim.
Yes, this evening, we also have Economic Development Director and Assistant City Manager Ursula Luna Reynosa providing that presentation.
Evening. Again, I'm going to sit over here where I can control the slides. So we're going to follow a similar format as we did for the homelessness strategic plan. This is for economic development. Again, it's a high-level strategic plan overview where we will be doing additional work and coming back in June with more detail, including KPIs and an action plan, moving it to a fiscal year period so that we can coincide our action plan with the budget process each year. So we have had a history of having strategic plans here in Garden Grove. Historically, they have been 3-year strategic plans. I'm looking to move this next one to a 5-year plan, but again, keeping it higher level, broad categories of goals so that the action plan is more detailed and more specific, that we will come back each year aligning our resources with those actions. But you can see the most recent strategic plan was in 2021, and it went through 2024. The goals from the most recent strategic plan, Goal 1 is community-based development. Goal 2 was leverage creative funding and financing tools. Goal 3, expand and preserve locally generated tax revenue. Goal 4, tourism initiative and development of the resort. Goal 5, promote and expand homeless resources and services. Goal 6, increase housing opportunities and investment. You can see that this previous economic development strategy in a way mirrored the department structure, and moving forward, we're kind of just pulling out pure economic development functions, not really as they relate to the department, but specifically assisting business and investment within the community. And we have our separate homelessness strategy, which we just presented. So a few highlights. We had Home to Suites, which was the first new hospitality project. Help me out, east or west of the 22? My direction isn't so fantastic, but it is a little bit separate and apart from the larger resort district, and we saw this as a positive move in the hopes that our hospitality hotel district might start to migrate and get a little bit larger, which would provide additional tax revenue for the city, and kind of make our place as a destination hospitality place. I'm not really going in any specific order. I did want to highlight that we were accredited as an economic development organization by IEDC, which is the International Economic Development Council, and we were, we might still be, but the only city in California with that accreditation. So that last strategic plan was part and parcel of going with that and getting that accreditation, and we are quite proud of that. We were getting Smoke Queen Barbecue was a big coup and part of the Cottage Industries project, which is continuing to move along. I know it's been a long time coming, but that particular business continues to do extremely well, bringing a lot of notoriety to the city, a lot of notoriety to our Foods of Garden Grove program, which we relaunched in 2024. So initially that program was a mitigation to COVID, where a lot of businesses were shut down, and we wanted to make sure that the general public was aware that we had these great restaurants and you can get food to go, et cetera. We relaunched it in 2024 with great success. Later, I will be sharing, I shared a memo recently with some of the statistics related to that. So we've had tremendous growth on social media. We are now sort of a voice of authority in that space where foodies are coming and they're creating their own user-generated content, which is a big milestone to hit. And it continues to promote those small businesses. We have visions of incorporating foodcations as part of that, where we're bringing the hotels into it and doing itinerary food sort of itineraries for people staying at the hotels. And we even want to start focusing on some of the specialty markets that we have here in town. Foodies, not only do they like to go out to eat, they also like to cook and do some sort of chef-inspired videos with some of our unique markets that we have in town. So all things food with Garden Grove. We also launched our Size Up Garden Grove and Insights, which was a tool for small businesses, and there was a presentation on that last year, but essentially providing big data to businesses free of charge. So a lot of major corporations will pay a lot of money for this data. It helps them with marketing decisions, with where to open, additional locations, et cetera. And we have made that forward-facing to the business community, free to use, and we continue to market that resource. We also started a new microbiz program. This is for micro businesses, very small businesses, to be able to obtain loans through the program for job creation. One of our goals is to create that into a larger revolving loan fund, ideally applying for some funding through EDA, which is the Economic Development Administration. We'll have to see how they're funded moving forward and what kind of opportunities are there, but they historically have provided funding for revolving loan programs, and we want to be able to provide access to capital to our business community. So oftentimes it takes money to make money. I've been throughout my career aware of so many businesses who need that additional working capital in order to grow and to thrive and to provide additional jobs. So those are just a few highlights. I did want to kind of go over a little bit of COVID recovery, as that sort of fell under this last strategic plan, and you can see that our TOT and our sales tax revenue has greatly recovered from from COVID, and it's been particularly on the sales tax, kind of relatively flat since 2022 fiscal year. Our TOT has continued to increase, but these are some of the kind of measurements that we look at in terms of how successful are we being in economic development, and we want to continue to look at these factors as well as other metrics when we create our KPIs. So we did a SWOT analysis, and I'm just going to highlight a few of the areas. So for strengths, our tourism and hospitality sector, and in particular with all of the investment that's going to be happening within the destination. And I really like for us to think of Garden Grove as part of the destination. So I know Anaheim gets a lot of prestige with Disneyland, but if you think about it, if you draw a circle around Disneyland, parts of Garden Grove are closer to Disneyland than parts of Anaheim are. So we really are part of that destination. OC Vibe, the tremendous investment that's happening there, highlighted a lot of the events that are going to be happening. Visit Anaheim has coined this next decade the golden decade due to World Cup that's coming, some anniversaries that Disneyland's going to be celebrating, the Super Bowl. There's a number of things and activities happening in the destination that Garden Grove will benefit from. Our strategic geographic position, we are close enough to the Port of Long Beach, to different airports, we're centrally located in Orange County, in real estate, location. We have a diverse economy and tax base, so not only do we have our tourism section, but we also have a strong manufacturing sector. We have premier education system, and that matters for CEOs when they're looking where they're going to locate and raise their families, as well as where will the children of their employees be able to go to school. Garden Grove, while it is expensive, it's relatively affordable compared to other parts of Orange County with a phenomenal public school system. It's a great place to raise a family. I'll go over some weaknesses. The housing affordability. So while we are relatively affordable, it is still expensive, and for a number of businesses who they are finding that their workforce is struggling to be able to find housing and to afford to live close enough to work. So that's something that needs to continue to be addressed. We continue to have some sales tax leakage, so wanting to really understand those. So sometimes a weakness can become an opportunity, really understand that and try to get some of those retailers located here in town. And we have some aging infrastructure. So there's some opportunities to enhance sort of the infrastructure here in town. Opportunities, art and cultural tourism. So when Visit Anaheim did their strategic plan, their consultant did a comparison of the destination to other destinations, and it ranked very high, but their weakest area was art and culture. And I think Garden Grove is very well positioned to fill that void for the destination, and I think it's a tremendous opportunity. There's some urban renewal opportunities with some of the vacant sites in town, some of the dilapidated structure centers, and having some new investment come in is an opportunity. Willowick is a potential opportunity there. Streamlining the permitting process. This is always an opportunity. So one thing I'm going to say that a number of factors that a business considers when deciding where to locate, we as a city have no control over. We do not control labor costs. We do not control land costs. We do not control interest rates. Those are all huge factors that a business is going to consider when they decide where they locate. The one thing that we do control is our regulatory process, our permitting process. And while we have a monopoly on that, you cannot go to the city of Anaheim to get a permit in Garden Grove. We have a monopoly over our permits here in Garden Grove. We should behave like we don't. Like, if we were in competition, would they want to come to us to come and get a permit? And I think that's a continual improvement process that every city I've worked with is a focus of, because it's the one thing we directly control. And then threats, regional competition, economic downturns, low brand awareness. I think that we can do some more of promoting the Garden Grove brand internationally as well as domestically. And so that was the SWOT analysis. And for our economic development strategic plan, the vision is that Garden Grove will be recognized as a vibrant and diverse economic hub where businesses prosper, workers flourish, visitors relax, and residents thrive. And the mission is to cultivate prosperity for all businesses, workers, visitors, and residents by enriching the environment to stimulate economic vitality. So we have 4 goals here. The first, under sort of the category of business development, is to drive employment and investment through business development initiatives. And some of the objectives there: attract, retain, and expand job opportunities through business development efforts. A couple of those examples, the Size Up that we've brought, some business retention and expansion visits where we have a new CRM where we're going in and meeting with the business community and putting in there what their concerns are, how we can help, what are their barriers to growth. We want to cultivate entrepreneurship. We are a community that has a lot of entrepreneurship already. How do we help create that and enhance that? And connect businesses with workforce development resources. It's a big issue right now when you go out and talk to the business community, attracting and retaining employees. There's a number of reasons why we want to facilitate conversations with those businesses and connect them to resources that could help. Real estate development is the other goal. The goal specifically is attract real estate investors and developers in targeted sectors: tourism, manufacturing, healthcare, and housing. Those are some of the areas that will help benefit our local economy. We want to attract domestic and foreign investment. We want to promote Garden Grove real estate assets and value so that we can have some of this investment come into town. One thing about the built environment, the minute a building is built, it starts to depreciate. So if you're not continually attracting new investment in your community is stagnating. So it's important that we get new investment, whether it's a renewal of a commercial center or a brand new building. Tourism, we want to foster economic impact through tourism, cultural events, and regional collaboration. Some of the objectives here are cultivate opportunities to develop entertainment venues. It's an area that we've heard we need more entertainment in Garden Grove, and with our tourism economy, we think it's a good fit. And retail, as we know, has been struggling a bit. We are over-retailed in the United States. Further, with the Amazon effect, brick and mortar retail is struggling. If we can add entertainment to retail opportunities, we think that's a good way to help breathe new life into some of our retail centers where there might be some vacancies. Develop art and cultural tourism by enhancing special districts and events. We really want to look at creating a little Saigon that has a sense of place. When you go into San Francisco and you're visiting Chinatown, you know you're in Chinatown. When you go into Little Italy down in San Diego, you know you're in Little Italy. So there's a grand vision to try to do that with Little Saigon, working collaboratively with the three other cities, Westminster, Fountain Valley, and Santa Ana. And we've started engaging in some conversations with those staff. There's a funding opportunity that we are going to jointly apply for a grant to try to plant some seeds to make that vision a reality. Proactively participate and influence the Garden Grove Tourism Improvement District, the GGTID, and Visit Anaheim to promote Garden Grove. So we want to be more proactive in our relationships there and really work on how they can help promote Garden Grove. And finally, communication, convey Garden Grove's value by crafting strategic messaging. We want to develop a marketing strategy by January 1st of 2026. So that would be its own separate strategy for marketing. Really, economic development, we are the sales arm of the city, and we want to have a strategic plan to help us do that better. Continually build and promote positive perceptions of Garden Grove. Effectively share insights and resources with stakeholders. So we want to accomplish all of that through our communication strategy. And that was my last slide. I know it's been a longer evening than expected, but I'm available for any questions you might have.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Colleagues, do we have any questions or comments? Mayor Pro Tem?
I have a quick comment, Ursula. It's trying to pack in a 5-year strategic plan in 15 minutes, not going to work. But that doesn't mean I don't appreciate your presentation. I'm going to want to bring you back for our annual budget retreat. We usually invite all the department heads. Obviously, you have goals and visions that you've set. I'm probably not going to be here by the end of the 5 years or even 3 years. So we want to be able to contribute to the overall strategic plan, and you've given us a lot already. I'm all for expanding the tourism. That's the goose that lays the golden egg, and the TOT, the bed taxes is really what has kept us afloat all of these years, including through COVID. We came out with a surplus, thanks to the last mayor. And we have a very capable mayor this time, and I'm sure she's going to guide us through the next step in planning our budget. I want to speak to just a little bit the level of efficiency that I promised when I was running for this office, and I've delivered, and I continue to deliver, and I'll bring it up at the end, at the closing, but sufficient to say that whatever program or plan we're going to implement, it's going to be with an eye for efficiency. We're going to provide our own technical support. We're not going to invite anybody. We don't need the Department of Government Efficiency. We will run our own city most effectively and most efficiently. And so please incorporate that into your strategic plans.
Anyone else? Well, thank you so much for the presentation. It's great to be able to see just honestly our robust efforts. It's exciting to see how we're supporting obviously the bedrock, which is our small business community, continuing to grow our local economy, and then tourism. We have so much going on currently, just the momentum with everything that's happening in this region and making sure Garden Grove's at the table for all those discussions and future collaborations and projects. And then just promoting Garden Grove. We're on the map and we're doing some big things and obviously more to come in the future. So again, thank you for the presentation this evening. We'll go ahead and go around the horn. Councilmember Bradingham, D1, what do you got for us?
Actually, I don't have much, but I will make a mention. So on April 19th, the city of Garden Grove will be doing the excavation event again at Garden Grove Park for the little kids to go out and do the Easter egg hunts, and they have activities and whatnot. It's $12 for a child ticket, $3 for the adult ticket. Again, tickets sell out on that thing, so it's a pretty popular event. Goes from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Again, Saturday, April 19th. And if you want to purchase a ticket, you can call 714-741-5200, Garden Grove Atlantis Park excavation event. And that's about all I have for tonight.
Thank you. Councilman?
Yes, and for the last 2 weeks, actually, I have able to join with Mayor Klopfenstein and other council to attend the City Garden Grove 2025 Employee Service Award, and also with Mayor again with the Student Art Exhibit Award ceremony, first impression, 47 annual 25. For the last, still my main concern is about the homelessness and affordable housing. And today we have a great presentation and we have discussed. So that's it.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you, Mayor and council members. Last week I yielded my time, so this week I'm going to use a little bit of my time. We have some very important reports. And thank you, Ursula, for staying here from the beginning of the meeting until now. But hopefully we can have a lot more information going into our retreat so that we can flush it out better. Like I say, you can't pack a 5-year plan into a 15-minute presentation, so I'm going to have a lot more questions for you, and hopefully we can all contribute to the strategic plan, which is very, very important. It's not just the marketing arm of our city. I think it's the bread and butter, too. It really is. It's going to keep us in the fat years, as I've asked city manager to provide. And so your collaboration and working with our city manager and the other department heads is really key and essential to delivering our goal and vision long after we're off the dais. We have new council members who's going to carry us forward. And I yield my time because I think they have a lot more to contribute than you've heard me for the last 3 years or so. I want to speak to the homeless, which I want to expand the notion of it. It's not just homelessness, but it's the unhoused. People are on the waiting list for affordable housing, senior housing, the disabled. They're waiting 10, 12, 15 years. And if we don't do anything about it, it can only get worse. It will only get worse. So we have to take a proactive stance on not just providing for people who need temporary housing, but long-term housing. So whatever we can bring the resources to bear to help alleviate that. And I want the list of people who are on the waiting list to dwindle down a little bit better. So our residents feel like that they're getting the attention that they need. They're a valuable asset to our community. So whatever staff can help, we have to wait on funding, right? We just have some good news. We have some funding coming. So I've heard several good news. And, Little Saigon, that's a good project to have and expend. We have a lot of other diversity projects and whatever awards or funding we can have to grow our community, that would be very, very well welcomed. I was at Smoke Queen Barbecue a couple days ago. I saw everybody's certificates, and I didn't see Garden Grove. I mean, maybe we should give them another one just to make sure they hang it on their walls. But I want to commend them for hiring young people. This is the city of youth and ambition. We saw a delegation of students going to Korea. Some of us here have been to Korea more than once, and it's an amazing experience. I'm so happy for young people to be able to have those exchanges, make those trips, and grow in many different ways, culturally, economically, education-wise. So those are the programs that we continue to support. I think businesses like Smoke Queen Barbecue, they're hiring young people, local people, and I went there and I saw that, and I was so pleased to be able to create that kind of employment opportunity right here in our city. So accommodations to Smoke Queen Barbecue, and that space that's being developed, it's a wonderful place. I very highly recommend it to anybody who is a foodie or just wants to stop by, check it out. But we should have a lot more of those kind of businesses, and I'm counting on you, Ursula, to try to create more spaces like that, right? I know it's on your agenda because I go to all of them. I'm going to make my rounds, and I'm going to tell all my friends, and I'm the marketing arm, right? Not just you. We got to market for you because as a council member, I'm a salesman. I'm going to sell whatever I think is the best for our city and for everybody all around. So a lot to report tonight. I used up twice my time because I yielded last meeting. But I look forward to going into the retreat and having a lot more to report back to our public, our constituents. And lastly, I want to say thank you to OCFA also. They made the transition seamlessly and painlessly, right? And they were here receiving the check. The money is less important. It's the appreciation. It's the people that you service who haven't forgotten you, me included. I have had businesses that have been burned down. And if it wasn't for OCFA, it would be a lot more damage. So OCFA has really saved a lot of our property, our businesses, and they can't get recognized enough. And that's why I'm going to close out my comments tonight. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Council.
Good evening, everyone. Bear with me. I have a long list of things that I've been busy doing this month. So last week was International Women's Day, and I was glad to celebrate it in good company with Garden Grove City family. I had a really good time. As you saw, today we recognized recognize the month's Women's History Month. Garden Grove truly celebrates the collective strength and influence of women, and how cool it is for little girls in our community to see the majority council and a woman city manager. I want to also take the time to acknowledge 2 businesses in District 5 that I recently visited that are woman-owned. First, Tacos La Toxica, located off of West and Chapman, and secondly, which we have already mentioned several times today, Smoke Queen Barbecue off of 9th Garden Grove. They both serve delicious foods, and their stories are amazing, and they reflect the Garden Grove spirit. So give it up to them. Also, it's been a very busy several days. Since the last council meeting, I went
I want to start off by thanking our council secretary, Pam, for setting up the meetings for me to meet the city department directors. I have met most of them so far. I have learned a great deal about city government and how each department operates, and I look forward to continuing my tour. Alongside most of my colleagues, I also attended the Employee Service Awards, which was a special occasion. Our city recognizes employees who have met impressive milestones in their city in the years of service. It was great to meet the employees from different departments who were recognized. I also attended the Santiago High School Community Resource Fun Fair. Let me tell you, it was something very special. I attended it alongside Ariana. The event was truly a community affair, and I had a blast connecting with many community members and friends, new ones and old ones. And I want to thank our staff as well for sending representatives to the table to share our city resources. Kudos to all who were involved and were able to make it happen. It was really nice to meet a lot of constituents as well there. Last week was Read Across America Week, and I was happy to visit Parkview Elementary to read some books to young scholars. As a teacher, you'd think I'd get tired of teaching literacy, but no, that's not the case. I had a great time connecting with the students and the principal as well as the teachers. I recently, I've had quite few business tours as well this past few weeks. Well, one that stood out the most was the Healthy Aging Center at Acacia. This organization serves the medical and social needs of individuals who are living at home but need daytime assistance for their health needs. What I witnessed during my time was nothing short of incredible. The program serves as a venue that caters to our senior population, helps boost their social and emotional needs. The staff were very friendly and informative and gave me a great rundown of the program. It was heartwarming to be able to see the space that they have and just the vibe. The vibe was amazing. So I felt it at heart, just the service that they're giving. Our constituents in our district, they serve about 50% of families from Garden Grove. So it's amazing. It's amazing to know that some families are able to work and do their everyday jobs and have a peace of mind to know that their families are okay. So it was very heartwarming. Also, this past weekend, I attended the Northeast Garden Grove Little League 70th anniversary opening ceremonies. Many families were out supporting their little athletes, and it was a pleasure to get to meet the board led by Eddie, who was a new president of the league. Also, I want to acknowledge and thank Ray for holding the league for the past 8 years. I look forward to supporting and working with our league for years to come. And lastly, I would like to invite District 5 residents to my first meet and greet. The meet and greet will be taking place on Saturday, March 29th at from 2 to 3 p.m. To sign up, you just need to email me. I can send you the RSVP link, or you can email me at yeseniam@ggcity.org. My email can also be found council portion of the city website. And I look forward to meeting our constituents there. Thank you, everyone.
Councilwoman? Well, hello and happy Women's History Month to everyone. We did pass a proclamation celebrating March
as a Women's History Month here in the city of Garden Grove, we passed that through the consent items, but I want to make sure that we highlight that again. We're wearing white today in honor of women's history and women's rights and women's suffrage. As my colleague Yesenia mentioned, it must be really amazing to look up at this dais and have a majority women council, to have an amazing woman as our city manager. And I also want to commend all of the wonderful women that are part of our staff. You guys kill it all the time. So keep up the good work. You're making us all proud. Yay, women. Also, happy Ramadan to all those who celebrate, and happy Lent to all of those who don't eat red meat on Friday. That's me. But it's a good time. I also want to start off by reminding everyone that we have an event happening in District 6 on April 26th, and it's the Beautify Buena Clinton event. This event has been put together through our code enforcement department in conjunction with several local organizations and members of the community, and there is going to be community cleanup, graffiti removal, there's going to be property maintenance, so I hope that folks will come out to this event. Again, that's on April 26th at Buena Clinton from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. I hope to see you guys there. I will be there. I also had the wonderful opportunity to visit the Thomas House Shelter in District 6. So I want to thank Shakoya Green Long, who is the admin over there, for showing me around and letting me know about all the wonderful work that they do as a transitional housing shelter. They've been in operation here in Garden Grove for about the last 40 years this year. So I hope sometime later this year, when they celebrate their big 40th anniversary, we find a way to recognize them for all the work that they've been doing, because they do service so many families here in Garden Grove over the years. Also had the opportunity to visit the Healthy Aging Center, Acacia. I want to thank Beth and Natalia Frank, who are the admins there, and I hope that we can continue our partnership with the Healthy Aging Center in the future. We were able to see, just how well they work with health caretakers, and they also work in conjunction with like OCTA to provide transportation resources to folks. So those are partnerships that are valuable in continuing quality of life. So I hope that we can continue working with them positively in the future. I had the opportunity to represent the city of Garden Grove, as well as at the Coast College's State of the District. And those are our partners from Golden West, OCC, and Coastline Community College. And as you guys know, we have Coastline Community College campus right here in Garden Grove. And so many folks from our community benefit from the very flexible education options that they have. So I also hope that we can continue working with them in the future, especially now that we have our strategic plan for economic development. Making sure that we have an educated workforce is so important to making sure that we also have a healthy community. So thank you to our educational partners there. In that vein, thank you to our staff, to the faculty and staff at Santiago High School, to the staff at Supervisor Sarmiento's office, for putting together the Community Resource Fair in Santiago High School, first of its kind. I hope that we can continue working with all of these partners in the future, and that we can bring even more community resources to them. I think it would be really great to get some folks from like Public Works and have some other community resources there, inform people about the great and fun things that we have going on in the city, because there were a lot of community stakeholders there. So hope that we can expand our presence there as well in the coming future. We also had the opportunity to visit several different types of affordable housing. We had an affordable housing tour, so thank you so much to Monica and Tim for being there with us and doing this tour. Thank you also to Lisa and Ursula for joining us, and Matt, and I'm forgetting folks, but yes, thank you guys so much. We visited several different types of affordable housing that we have in the city of Garden Grove, from permanent supportive housing to subsidized housing to senior housing, and it just goes to show the amount of work that our city staff and our council has put into really diversifying the type of affordable housing that we have in the city. I think it's a really great roadmap and a great launching point for us to continue to do great work in terms of affordable housing, because affordable housing can look
like a lot of different things. And it can suit needs of people that are at different points of need. So that was a really great tour. So thank you guys so much for all of the wonderful, insightful information that you guys gave us. I look forward to continuing to have our conversations about affordable housing. We got a lot of insight today as well. So thank you guys. We have a lot to think about, especially ahead of our council retreat at the end of this week. So with that, thank you guys. Have a good night.
Thank you. Councilmember Barnum, you said you had one last thing?
Yeah, I forgot to mention, there was some social media buzz and a couple months ago, and our council meetings apparently weren't being broadcast on Channel 3. So I've been working with staff to get that resolved. It turns out that if you're watching it via a cable box, then you get Channel 3. But most people have gone apps now. And so if you're watching it via an app on your TV, instead of Garden Grove City Council, you get Sierra Madre City Council in the city of Garden Grove. So staff is currently working to get that addressed. So if you see any complaints or concerns or hear any concerns, why isn't this being broadcast anymore? It is. It's just snafu on their app. It was working fine, and then I guess they did an update or something, and so now you're getting a different city's council meeting. So hopefully we'll be getting that fixed this week sometime. But it's currently not fixed now, so people wanting to watching it on an app on their TV are not able to see it currently. So anyway, I just wanted to let the community know. Of course, the folks that are seeing me right now are watching it via cable satellite box. So everyone else is going, why is it not on? So anyway, I just wanted to put that out so the community is aware.
Thank you. One last thing that we need to make mention of that's coming up on March 22nd is our next walk and talk in District 2. And I will be there, as well as obviously Councilman Philip Nguyen will be there, our city manager. We will have city staff in attendance as well. The starting point is St. Olaf Church. That's 9th and Lamson. It'll begin at 8 a.m. And this is a wonderful opportunity to meet your councilman, to come out and talk to us, share your concerns, ideas, what matters to you in your neighborhood and within District 2. So I invite the community to come out and attend. It'll be a wonderful morning in Garden Grove District 2. Thank you. City Manager, anything else this evening?
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council. Just a couple of additional events to highlight this coming Saturday. We have our next community cleanup. It'll be located at Skylark Elementary School at 11250 McMurray Street from 9 to 11 a.m. And then OCFA is also hosting their annual open house at headquarters in Irvine. The address is 1 Fire Authority Road in Irvine. And it's Saturday, March 15th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Thank you. City Attorney Sandoval?
Yes, Mayor, today we had a closed session, and there's no reportable action out of that closed session, and
Thank
that's
you,
all
Ryan.
I have.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, really quick.
Thank you, Mayor. It's quick. I do have a request for City Attorney and City Manager. It's related to the fence that one of our residents mentioned. I don't want it ignored. I want the City Attorney to look into the feasibility of putting a fence there, including whether it's within our jurisdiction. It could be an Orange County jurisdiction or the sheriff, or regardless of what it is, please spend a little time, investigate, city manager, send somebody down there. Next time we have a meeting, I'd like the city manager and or the city attorney to report that we did a feasibility study and what that resulted in, because I've heard this often enough that it's actionable. Let's do it.
All right. With that, we are adjourned. Thank you very much. We'll see you on March 25th at the next council meeting.